Alright, today's project I'm going to be turning my Bushlore, which actually I'm very happy with, the Condor Bushlore. So I'm going to cut it down to for a Scandi grind. Everybody knows it's got a double bevel on there. It's a very small bevel. So I'm going to shave that up. So we've got my whetstones. So we're going to be going from 300 grit. We have a combination whetstone there, which is 6 and 800. Then we got a Japanese 1200, and then a Arkansas stone, and then we'll strop it and see how it comes out. So this is the first time I'm going to be shaving this much. Let's see how this works out. So we'll start out with the 300 grit. All right, and we'll find our main bevel that we're looking for. So we're going for the Scandi grind. So this actually makes it pretty easy, to find that sweet spot. So the whole idea that I'm trying to do, and I may be completely wrong, but this is first try for me, is that I want to level out that secondary bevel so that it blends and I'm flattened out up to that, I guess about a 1/4 inch on the Scandi grind. So it'll be nice and flat. And probably if I had a belt sander, it would probably make life a lot easier. But I don't have a belt sander, so I'm going to make do with what I got. Which kind of, I think, is the whole point of bushcraft, is simplicity and make do. This is going to take a while, so I think I'll pick you guys back up after I feel comfortable with the 300, so I can see where it's giving, but it looks like I got a ways to go. You can kind of make out where I'm flattening out, so I want it nice and flat. Same color, same striations up into that the primary bevel there, that cut that came with the Condor. So all this, so it gives me a good guide to work off of. So we'll, my biggest fear actually is that I'm going to lose some of this belly by doing it this way. But it's a great knife, but it's cheap. So worst case is I'm buying a new one, and repurpose this one for maybe skinning or something like that. But we'll see. All right. All right, just a progress check. About 20 minutes into it already. So I guess I'm about maybe a third of the way done. So you can kind of see where we're flat. So I don't know if you can quite see, from the light. So you can see I'm bringing it up here. So I'm grinding too much uneven, on the blade right now. So I got to start bringing it up to the tip, more at the same pressure that I've been applying to the belly. And so a little bit more grinding, but it's coming up. So you can see that secondary bevel is largely, faded and is starting to melt in, to form that Scandi grind. So a little bit more on the 300 grit. All right, I'm about a half hour in and still working on it with the 300 grit. Definitely a labor of love. So I'm finding that I actually I gotta carry it a little bit steeper of an angle, and I gotta concentrate more. Normally, if I'm doing whetstone, I'll just carry it all the way through like this. and I have a lot of material obviously that I got to take off. Yeah, so I'm doing a, back and forth, focusing on, specific sections, and I'm finding that, as I'm clearing out some of this, it's uneven. I'm just not getting the right pressure consistently through the entire curve, and I think it's actually because I'm not holding it at a consistent angle throughout, each section. So I got, the belly pretty well established at this point, but both ends, it just I'm fading. You could see. I don't know if you actually can see, but you can kind of see it goes up like this, so that what used to be that secondary bevel is kind of going up and then coming back down. So I'm getting an uneven. So I got to start, pitching it a little bit steeper than what I had in the belly out on the edges. So I'm gonna keep working it. All right, so a little over a half hour. I think that I don't want to misread the what I've been doing. I know for sure I've taken off a lot of material. So what I'm going to do is move on from the 300 grit up to the 600 combination stone. So I'll see. I don't want to take too much off the edge, and I know I'm going on a steep angle, so I don't want to thin that blade out too much. I'll kind of defeat the whole purpose. I still need a a strong blade, or at least on the edge. For everything from batoning to feather sticking and everything else. So worst case is that I go through this again, to take off more material. So depending on what I end up getting to after I end up stropping it, if I got no blade, no edge, that's going to be a problem. But worst case is I'm thinking the worst case is that I'm going to end up doing this again if I don't have a nice, clean, even Scandi grind on there. So we'll keep moving on. All right, we moved up to the 800 grit. Haven't started yet on that. So you can still see. I'm just not happy about that, but I'm not sure. And I've tried, applied what I thought was even pressure along the whole thing, flat across this edge to kind of straighten that out. And I'm not feeling any humps or anything that would indicate that it's actually not flat. So I'm going to keep moving on. I'll polish up the rest of the blade, the Scandi edge, and sharpen it up and see what we end up with. And I don't know. Maybe some of the viewers out there who's done similar exercises, even if you've done it with a belt grinder, maybe have some ideas as to maybe my angle is just not steep enough. I'm catching it right here, so it's a sweet spot, and I'm not seeing any gaps or shadows or anything like that. So it's about as even as I can make it doing it by hand, and I don't want to do it any other way but by hand. So we'll just keep moving on. See if we get a nice sharp edge on that. All right, so we moved on to the 1200 grit. So we went from 300 to 6 to 8, and now we're up to my Japanese Waterstone 1200 grit. This has to be the most relaxing thing I do all day. The only frustrating part is if I can't get that angle. But I got a camping trip coming up 2 weekends? Yeah, in 2 weekends. So we'll put the blade through its paces then. And depending on what I end up with, I will be using my backup blade, or I'll be happy with what I got. All right, just as a confirmation that I was hitting the blade evenly, little trick was to use a permanent marker. And what I did was I blackened the entire edge. You know, what would have been the grind that I was hoping to get. And what I discovered was that, you know, I am hitting, you know, the blade evenly. So the grind, you know, the angle that I was going at, you know, whatever that pitch was, I don't even know what the angle would have been or what it translates to. I'm just looking for that pitch when I catch the edge, you know, on the shoulder of that bevel, and then, you know, carry it through. If I take off the marker evenly on both sides, then I'm making contact with the metal. You know, so it's a matter of more work. You know, so another round of doing this all over again, because I'm still seeing some of that old discoloration, you know, that would have been the original shoulder to the secondary bevel. So, but I'm going to keep that for now because I'm 45 minutes into it now, and I'm not quite sure that I'm high off that first bevel or what it was, so I'm blended in pretty good. So I think best case is I'm going to have a nice bush knife for when I go out in a couple weekends, and worst case is that I'll have some parts of it, I guess, would be concave or convex on the blade, which is fine for batoning. Not so good for feather sticking, but yeah, we'll see. All right, so just keep going through. I'll pick you up on the other side when I hit the Arkansas stone. All right, just about to transition to the Arkansas stone. Yeah, looks like it really cleaned up nice on the 1200 grit. May have to do it a little bit longer on it. Looks like I have a little bit of holidays. Yeah, you can see some of the old grind still in there. So I'm wondering if even the metal itself was not as, I don't know, clean, pure, or whatever, to give me an even, each time I was, would take it through, that I was hitting all the spots at the same time. So whatever the case is, I think with enough material that I take off, any kind of hills or valleys that may exist, within the metal itself, I'll end up flattening that out anyway. Not to say that was the case. It could have been user error, just me missing, just not providing an even strop, with each pass through on there. So I don't know, but in either case, maybe you can learn from my mistakes. But it's feeling good, pretty good right now. So we'll put this back in the bath just in case I want to come back to that. And we go for our Arkansas Black. So I'll spare you this part of it. This is going to take me about 15 minutes or so to take it through this. So I'll pick you up on the other side with this dropping. Alright, so we're just putting the finishing touches up. On the Arkansas stone. I don't know if you can see it, but we still got some uneven grinding. I guess clean up right in there. I'll just try pitching it a couple different ways for you to maybe see it. But it's even on, wherever I have it on this side, I got the wear on the other side. So now we'll start in on the stropping. So this is awesome from JRE Industries. So load up on the white. Normally I clean up on this, on the old compound, I don't know, maybe once a month, depending on how many sharpenings I'm doing here. So we'll start up on the white, on the leather, on the stropping, and then load up on the green. And we'll polish it up nice and see how that turns up. I don't test the blade, how sharp it is, until after this. I don't know why. Just bad luck, I guess. After this, I'll show you the bath that the whetstones were in, and you can see all the material that came off of it. Yeah, so a lot was ground off. Oop, not too much was. So we spent a lot of time on the 1200 grit and then on the Arkansas stone. So I'm not going to spend too much time stropping. So we'll see if we can get under the 10-minute mark for YouTube. So even there you could see how much material is coming off. Yeah, but it's polishing up nice. I don't know if you can see. It looks promising. All right, that's it for the white. Let's go to the green. Again, just a plug for JRE Industries. Not that I got any dog in this hunt, but you know, the price was right for their stuff, and it's like a mom and pop shop. Alright, actually that polished up pretty nice. I don't know if you can make that out. Alright, now the proof is in the pudding. So let's see how it cuts paper. Ooh, there it goes. That's sharp. I don't know if I got a spur in there. It feels smooth all the way around. Alright, looks good, so we'll see how it works out for the weekend. Alright, thank you. Alright, did a little bit more stropping. Really came out nice on that Scandi grind. Still have a little bit of some holidays, but yeah, you could just, that is great. Whoa. So it can be done. All right, take it easy.